podcast helps leaders like you rise with purpose, clarity, and strength. I'm your host, Dr. Maurine Kwende, and I'm an executive leadership coach, speaker, and founder of EMK Learning Solutions. I am a learning leader, educator. I am a facilitator, trainer, author, podcast host, and I'm also a researcher. So every month, if you're tuning in for the first time, you would realize that we're talking about the theme of strength-based leadership. So every month we pick a theme and then we have different topics that are aligned to that theme. So today's topic is titled Reframe to Rise, How Leaders Can Shift Perspective and Unlock Growth. So we had Memorial Day, we're just coming out of Memorial Day. And so we know that really it's a time for reflection and a remembrance, right? And so this episode is really an invitation to pause and reframe the way we lead under pressure. So as leaders, we're exploring the power of reframing and how we can shift our mindset through this strength-based lens, which can help us lead through challenges, find purpose in pressure and pain, and also create momentum from meaning. So whether you're navigating, a challenge, which could be burnout, you may be facing uncertainty, going through a transition, or maybe just feeling the weight of leadership, hopefully today you'll walk away with some tools to help you see those challenges in a new light and rise from them by practicing reframing. So Memorial Day, as you know, it really reminds us of the strength and sacrifices of those who have served, right? So it's really a special day. And so as a leader, it's also a time for us to reflect on the invisible load we carry. Quite frankly, leaders do a lot. As a leader, being in the field for over 25 years, I can tell you firsthand that leadership is not a walk in the park. If it was that easy, everybody would be successful as a leader. So leaders carry a lot, like, making decisions, expectations, setting those expectations, pressures, responsibility. It can really feel heavy. And so as leaders, we do have challenges, right? And so just like those we honor, leaders are called to rise. And so you want to reframe that challenge as purpose. You want to lead from your strength, even when things feel uncertain. And that's what we're going to talk today. So, but let's first get started by, talking about reframing. What is reframing? It's a practice of changing how we interpret or think about things. In coaching, leadership, you want to be able to have that mindset shift to unlock possibility. When things go wrong, instead of looking at them as always wrong, you can reframe it and see it in a different light. Having that shift in perspective is going to help you to grow. So it's not about pretending, though, that things are easy. That's not what it is. It's about changing the meaning so we can find power in the process. So instead of, saying, what's wrong? You want to look at it from another perspective, right? What if my strength is being called forward? What value do I want to leave out in this moment? You want to, when you reframe using a strength-based approach, just as some things that you can ask yourself, what's strong here, not just what is strong. Okay, so when we look at some of the challenges that leaders face, right, and how reframing can change the narrative, a challenge that is very common is burnout, right? Instead of saying, I'm exhausted, I must be doing something wrong, you can reframe by saying that my strength is in responsibility is valuable, but this is a moment to honor my value of rest and renewal. And so what about uncertainty? When you're going through a period of uncertainty, instead of saying, I don't know what's next, or I just feel stuck. When you reframe it, you might then start seeing it as this is an opportunity to lead with curiosity, flexibility, and your strength in strategic thinking. So that way you can see that there's a shift in perspective. Another example, maybe when you're wanting to deal with critical feedback, right? Instead of saying, they don't just appreciate my effort, going on and on. As a leader, you can actually reframe by saying, I can lean into my strength in communication and clarify expectations. So when you do that, you can really see that there's a shift in mindset, and now you're unlocking possibilities for you to grow as a leader. The more we reframe, the more resilient and resourceful we can become. So reframing matters a whole lot, even in coaching, right? And it aligns also with some of those ICF competencies. If we can support clients by transforming their insight into action by helping them reframe as well. So I want to challenge you to practice reframing as a leader, even in small ways, even in those small conversations, you want to practice reframing. Here are some tools that can help you. I call it the flip exercise, right? So write down the current challenge that you're experiencing and then ask yourself, what's one strength I can apply here? How might this challenge be helping me grow? What's opportunity in this obstacle? How can I flip it? How can I reframe it? Right, so that's the one thing that you could do. Another way that you can do this is by coming up with a strength journal prompt, right? So at the end of the day, you want to jot down maybe a situation that was tough, the strength that you use to navigate it, right? And then one way that you can reframe it moving forward. So this seems simple, but the more you can practice this, it helps build your mental agility and emotional resilience over time. So as I close today, I want to invite you to reflect. What challenge are you facing this week? How can you reframe it through one of your strengths? What value do you want to honor through the situation? So this is really a closing call. I want to invite you leaders to, and remind you that you have the power to shift your story. When I practice reframing, quite frankly, things that felt so heavy, they become so light. I want to challenge you to do the same. You don't need to carry every challenge the same way. When you shift that perspective, you can unlock your power. That's an opportunity that you have. When you reframe, through your strengths, you can rise. Okay, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. I hope this episode encouraged you. Share it with a fellow leader who might be going through a challenge, who can benefit from reframing. I want to invite you to subscribe, and whenever you listen, please share your thoughts, comments. I want to thank you so much, and I will see you same time next week. This is Dr. Maurine.